Good afternoon. We're going to get started on project 2 a little bit, and I actually added a new assignment to this. It's going to be not graded, but it might help us get off to a bit of a start. That'll be kind of nice. Um, as opposed to the prior symbol or the prior assignments at ticker symbol and it required some data. Now I want you to just look up a ticker symbol for me because I want to make sure you're on the right track before you look up all the data. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. Hopefully it will as we go along. So the new assignment is here. It's just the ticker symbol alone. And let me go first to the introduction and talk about that. And I've opened that up. You guys can download that too as you want. But I've opened that up here and kind of let you know what we're going to be doing. So we're gonna hopefully give you guys a chance to demonstrate that you've learned a little bit and you kind of know how to look at a financial statement now and maybe pick out some important data and write about it. So you're going to write a paper, maximum 5 pages, although you're not going to be able to get it done in less than 4 or so, let's say. So you need to be in that ballpark. Of course, it's all going to depend on spacing that you use and those types of things. It's hard for me to imagine that you won't be bumping up against that 5-page limit. You're going to pick a publicly traded company. And why do I say a publicly traded company? Because we can get information. One thing nice about the laws and the security investment laws that we have in this country is that information is made public to us, and it comes out every quarter. We can look up those types of things. So that's what we're going to do, pick out a publicly traded company, and then you're going to do a report on that. Again, focusing on the financial information. I'm going to ask you to give me a little other background on the company just as kind of a warm-up as you do your paper. But remember, your paper's going to focus on the financials, right? Okay, so out of 5 pages, 3 of those pages you ought to be thinking about having devoted to probably the financial part of it. So where are we going to get that type of information? There's a lot of good sites, and I list a few here. I may come up with some more examples too as I go along. I kind of bounce around and look at some. In fact, one of my favorite ones is not on here. Maybe add that before I and repost this. But there's a site called FINRA, FINRA. .com, and that's actually my favorite site that I go to now. Ultimately, you're going to do a lot of looking at the annual reports for the companies. Okay, I insist that you spend time looking at the annual reports, and I say that plural because looking at just one year is probably not good enough. You're going to want to go back and look at some prior years' annual reports, especially if there's things within the company's financials that jump out. And in the last several years, we may have some interesting changes with COVID, of course, from last year. In 2017 or 18, we had big tax changes, tax reductions for corporation. That was a huge thing. And some of you, as you're going through this and you're looking at some of the financial data from going back to that era, you'll see some interesting input or some interesting financial data related to those tax returns. Some of them don't make as much sense as you might think, and we'll have to look at that as we go along. So for your first assignment that's going to be graded, it's going to be the ticker symbol plus these things: the company's last closing price, the company's PE ratio, and the company's previous year's earnings per share. But again, I added another assignment because I'd like you to submit that ticker symbol to me first. Make sure that we're on the right track. One thing that I want you to avoid is there's a lot of foreign companies that are listed that we can buy stock in the U.S. Maybe Sony, for example, or Kia, or Honda, or Toyota, or some popular ones that people might choose, and they might think they would like to analyze. They're foreign companies. We can buy stock in those companies, but often I don't find it as easy to look up the information, and the formatting of the information may be different than what we're kind of used to. So I'd like you to stick with a company that's headquartered here in the United States of America. That's number one. Number two is keep it simple. a big company, a really big company, might be simple, and that's fine. When it gets complicated is when you get a company that's it does business in a lot of different areas. Something we might call a conglomerate. I wouldn't pick General Electric, for example, because it's got a million different divisions. It does airplane engines and train engines. It does medical. It used to. I don't know if it still does insurance and some of those things. Microsoft's getting really broad. They've got the basic office tools that we use, Word and Excel and such, but then they've got their operating system, which still comes on a lot of PCs, and now they've got a whole bunch of stuff that's in the cloud. Okay, so that's a little bit too busy. I kind of use this as an example for a ticker symbol, but Microsoft wouldn't be a good choice for a company to analyze. But Walmart's a big company, but Walmart pretty much does one thing. Okay, they got another division that's Sam's Club, but Sam's Club isn't that much different than Walmart, in how they do business. So, Walmart might be perfectly fine. McDonald's is a huge company, but they do one thing, right? They do it a little differently than other fast food companies, so think about that. Keep it. When I say keep it simple, it doesn't mean small. It just means try to focus on a company that has maybe one earning track, one basic earning track. That's part of the reason, again, I want to ferret out any foreign companies, but I also want to give you some advice if you choose a company that I think may be a little bit difficult to analyze. So to begin with, we just need to look up the ticker symbol. I'll come back and show you this stuff maybe later, but for now, let's see what that ticker symbol might look like. Odds are you can probably use a search engine. Most of you probably use Google. I use Bing or sometimes DuckDuckGo when I'm looking, and so I may want to find a ticker symbol for ticker symbol for ExxonMobil. Geez, there it is, New York Stock Exchange, XOM. I finished the assignment. I have to submit that, so I can put it in the deal. I can just type it in. I don't have to put it on a Word doc. I should be able to just type it in and hit submit. And I'm done with this first assignment. I can take a look at that. I might say, Exxon's maybe a little broad. You might want to narrow that down, find another company. There's other oil companies, Conoco, Phillips 66, that may not be as diverse as Exxon. But Exxon may not be too bad. Okay. And, so ExxonMobil, what if I said Target? Same thing, it comes right up. Okay, so you ought to be able to use the just the search engine to find that ticker symbol. Okay, and if you provide that to me in the name of the company, a lot of the ticker symbols I may kind of know just because I watch a lot of financial news, but you may pick one, and feel free to do that. If there's a smaller company, that's kind of cool. I really enjoy getting reports. Analysis of companies that are smaller. We've had a lot of smaller retail in the past. Maybe somebody wants to do Shake Shack or something like that. A small little burger, but it's a publicly traded company, right? That's fine. Those are kind of fun because I don't see those very often. When I'm watching the financial news, a lot of times it's a lot of these bigger companies, and so I don't get to read up or see some of those smaller companies. So feel free. Find a ticker symbol, find a company that you think you're interested in. That's going to be the best. Maybe in an industry that you're interested in. If you have some problems picking a company, just let me know. That's another thing you could do prior to that. Send me a little note, either probably via email, and I'll give you some suggestions. I might say, hey, what industry are you interested in? So, if you want to send me an email like that, hey, I'm interested in the automotive industry. What might you recommend? I've had people do. What's the car selling company? Lithium Motors, right? It's a publicly traded company. Okay, and so different things like that, and I might be able to come up with some ideas for you if you're lacking those ideas yourself. That'll do it for that particular assignment. I'll do another one on the other information that I want you to do on the assignment that's due for March 12th, but this one's due March 7th.